these are games you had to win to start this run that we're talking about. You see the fight. You see a team that didn't pack their bags when they were 2-6.
Everybody's spirit is high, so everyone's motivated. And has faith, like I said earlier in the pod a couple weeks ago. Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
Because the faith is still there. It's still there.
Calais has been fucking awesome all year. That video on Instagram after the win, that shit got me hyped up.
Yeah.
When he gave that speech at the end, just saying like, hey, job's not done, like good win, but we're moving on to next week, and you know, there's a lot more work to be done.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Breakin House Rules. It is I, Jevon, Dre, and Cam. Fellas, how are we doing today? Everybody got fits on?
Yeah.
How we feeling?
I'm good, man.
I'm good.
It's fall time. You want to put
Right.
a little something
Just
together.
a little something.
It's less sweat, more you could
Right.
vibe a little bit.
Miami's
color.
under 80 degrees. We're feeling good.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
What do you got on there?
All right, so top to bottom, we got the Orlando Mendez guy. You remember?
Okay, yeah,
country
yeah,
artist
yeah,
out of here at Miami. Then we got Vic Garcia with the T. We got GPA Sweats, and then we got Saucony Kicks.
Okay.
Okay.
I got, this is a little Zara shirt
Zara.
there.
Yeah, man, love
Little
Zara,
thick.
man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he loves Zara.
I get a little Zara on. These are, I don't even know. These honestly may be like Fashion Nova. And then I got some dunks on, little clean dunks on.
Got the knees out.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah,
You got lotion on the knees?
Yeah, bro. You know, I'm always
already-
moisturized.
you know.
That cocoa butter.
What you got?
Cocoa butter.
Okay, with the
Yeah,
black socks.
yeah.
Look, just a quick little segment. If you wear jeans and you wear
wear white
jeans
socks.
with, not white socks, because sometimes you got white shoes,
Yeah.
so white socks is okay. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you wear jeans with ankle socks, no shows, ankle socks, you know who I'm talking to. I just want to let you know that you need to revitalize your sock approach on your daily basis. Wearing jeans with ankle socks is just, it's hard to explain, but it's just something that you just don't do. But back to what we're talking about.
What
the
you
fit,
going with?
top to bottom. So I had to get the little neutral color. Say nice little green, new era fitted. I didn't go side patch, but I did go gray brim, as you can see. Just wanted to, something classy, something neutral color, neutral tone, very autumn. Fiore golf sweater vest. Just got it today. Shout out to Fiore for sending it through. Yep. Got the Skims tee on. Shout out Kim K. These are Butter Goods jeans, oversized, very swaggy. I got the Fiore socks on with the Samp.
Man, took the whole shoe off.
The whole shoe with the Samp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure the fit is seen.
Absolutely.
Feeling very.
But the Yankee logo on the top is.
Are you not feeling the Yank logo?
Go Phils.
Nah.
I don't think it's that deep. For me personally,
it's what matches.
It's what
it's the
matches,
fashion.
right?
I get it.
I mean, it's a classic symbol, right? Like you can rock around wherever you're at, rock it. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm with it.
So what's interesting there is like I think about fits that players choose now. It's become a little bit of a thing as you walk in, right? Not quite NBA, but like how much thought goes into like on wearing on a Sunday morning, knowing the camera's gonna be there snapping some pics.
So as of recently, I've been really trying to just like throw more stuff on, throw more gear on.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of like, different pieces in my closet, things that have been sent to me, things that I've bought in past and I haven't worn. But I'm trying to like, make an effort. Like I wouldn't normally wear a sweater vest with with a tee, but I'm like, let me diversify my look. My Pinterest board is starting to get a little bit in depth of things that I like and things that I don't like. So I'm really trying to diversify my style. I can check that out on Quick Draw Saloon on Instagram.
I'm hitting the plugs early.
I'm throwing the plugs because I got a lot of style, and I'm really trying to refine my style
For sure.
and figure out what I like, what I don't like. But so shout out to all the people that are helping me, mainly Verone, Amanda, and Jordan and Keith. So
Yeah.
Damn, this guy's got a whole team.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, one's my girlfriend,
Stylist, you know.
3 of my
Hey, bro.
closest friends, and
Must
then
be
my
nice, bro.
girlfriend. So
Got money, bro. You could just,
hold on. We ain't shopping like that, bro. I am definitely going to the sales section and Zara, brother. That is because Zara got good fits. Zara.
Okay, I was about to say you say about my Zara.
No,
Zara's good.
Zara,
Zara's good. I got a ton of
I
Zara.
be living at Zara, bro.
Zara got good fits in
It
there.
does.
Yeah.
Good fits.
I got a ton of Zara
You
clothes.
got to really be able to put it on if you got to go to Zara.
Yeah,
For real.
for sure.
Facts.
Drip for less, Ross. People don't know that. I
Yeah.
lived off drip for less.
Yeah.
Marshalls.
We having little t-shirts there, little golf polos, you know.
Yeah, TJ Maxx and Marshalls
Maxx.
got the. I'm telling you, they got the best golf gear. Y'all go check that out. Y'all go check that out.
Hell yeah. Nah, I'm with you. I'm definitely the guy got into the tip of fashion with my suits, bro. I started to get custom.
Your suit game's
bro.
good.
Yeah,
I've been trying to turn it up a little bit. The different colors, that's been my thing. Like, hey, I want to. My wife is also does a lot of. She's big on seasons. She's like, hey, you can't wear this color in this season. And so I've been really trying to press the envelope. A lot of reporters usually got the black, the blues. I'm like, I want to pop up with a brown, or you know, a bright blue, or like a burgundy, like you know, some pattern stuff. You know.
So do you get the shoes first? Because I see you throw Jordans, and you know what I'm saying. So do you get the shoes first, then build the suit off the shoes?
A lot of times, yes.
I feel like that's the easiest way to go.
100%.
It is because like shoes are so different. It's hard to match one for one.
Yeah.
Like sometimes somebody will just get me like a random shirt, or they'll be like, "Hey, you know, do you want to wear this color?" And I'm like, "Dang, what Jordans would I rock for that?" Then I'm like, I gotta go buy a certain pair of Jordans to go for that.
And you gotta scour the internet for that specific color
for sure.
Nah,
and then only certain
shoes.
Jordans go with certain suits. Like I used to wear whatever Jordans. Now I'm being a little bit more selective, and like ones typically work best with suits. If you wear like a big bulky 7, it look a little odd. Sometimes you wear boat shoes with your suit. So yeah, that's really a big tip for me.
Shoes, building it from the shoes up or from the hat. For me personally, like throwing, because I have a lot of hats. So the hat, then to build the shoe, the fit, it works a lot. But if you pick one piece, usually I don't like to go like dark, dark, dark. I try to go like light, light, dark, or dark, light, dark, or you know, light, dark, light. Like I always try to have a darker piece so that it's like kind of a statement. And if I do have the same color or a similar color top, then I'll match that with it. But I really want to make sure that I'm not like just like all black.
Right.
But like when I'm, you know, like wearing a suit or like going out on the town, but I like to dress up in like some dress shoes or some slacks, I just choose all black. So yeah.
It's a great style way to start the show, and it's a great week for us here at Breakin House Rules. We got a lot to talk about. Fans got another win. Fans back to back. So, you know, the buzz coming a little bit. It's a big hole, but hey, there's a light at the end of that tunnel, and it may say playoffs. We'll see. We're going to talk a lot about that later in the show. Some talks around the NFL. Talk a little bit of holidays. We got Thanksgiving coming up. But first, let's kick it off with Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. I watched the fight. Y'all all did, like a lot of America, other than the Netflix issues that we kept having.
That was wild.
Through all of it.
Netflix was tripping. I got hot Wi-Fi. Like my Wi-Fi is on point, and I had the little Orbi. Yeah. And the Orbi got like its own signal, right? Yeah. So when you got the Orbi, it's like, all right, this is the main Wi-Fi, but the Orbi is specific Wi-Fi. So if you connect my game to the Orbi and the TV, so that they're running on fire. Netflix was tripping.
Bro, it was low key embarrassing. I had like 12 people over to the crib. They looking at me funny, like, bro, you skipping on the Wi-Fi. I'm 100%. Like, bro, I never have an issue. I promise you. I'm like going on social media for proof. I'm like, look, all these people dealing with the same issues, you know.
I was about to bring up meth streams or Stream East, but then they all shut down at the same time. So then I had to start bouncing between my TV, my phone, my iPad, and I'm sitting there, all three of them loading. I'm like, all right. Now
I have an extra TV in my room. That's just like a spare TV. I literally put that shit in my living room to see if that, and it didn't work there either. I'm like, bro.
Yeah. So all that anticipation builds, we finally get to the fight, and you know it's kind of a boring one. You know, Mike Tyson ran out of gas. Jake Paul wins, and I feel like all of America, or especially a lot of us in the black community, we view Mike Tyson as like this unstoppable beast, right? And so it was sad. It was a little sad for me seeing him. And you got to get a perspective. He's 58 years old. You know, he's getting a big bag from this. But like you're seeing this version. Yeah. And for me, this is the first time I've ever seen a Mike Tyson fight live, like just because of my age. So like that's the memory I didn't want to have. But you know, 58, age gets you at some point, right?
I mean, reality is, is kind of expected.
Right.
You know, obviously Mike Tyson's been a beast his whole career, but like you said, he's 58 years old. There wasn't really like a big expectation that he was going to go up there and light it up. Even though a lot of people thought that he would go out there and whoop ass. But
that one punch power, right?
Right.
Which he looked like he threw a couple there early in the fight. And you're like, oh, right, maybe. And then after the first round, it was just like Paul's over here and Tyson's over here, and it's just like they're not going to do anything. I think he threw 18 punches the whole fight.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the entire leading up to that fight, I mean, we've seen Tyson in his boxing videos, like he was doing some things that we thought he was going to go out there and handle Jake Paul.
Yep.
And definitely with his reputation and what he represents, I personally thought that Mike Tyson was going to go out there and whoop Jake Paul's ass.
A lot of people did.
But at the same time, after like really looking into Mike Tyson's situation, like, you know, he's had that like short TV series and animated series. He's done podcasts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he had the biopic video TV series. But, you know, Don King stole a lot of money from him, right? So at the end of the day, it's like he sees Jake Paul and what they did with Floyd and how much money Floyd made off of that, and Logan Paul and Floyd.
Right. Yep.
And so now you have another prominent name who is still in shape. And we saw him fight a couple years back, and he was whooping his opponent then. So with everything leading up, Netflix is streaming it live.
Right.
I think, you know, it was more so a business decision for him, knowing that
100%.
he's going to go out there and last all 8 rounds.
For sure.
Because they're only 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he had to really battle out 5 minutes or 3 minutes. So all 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds, and you see him go out there and almost pull his punches.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple times where he connected and you saw Jake Paul kind of step back, and you could realize that, okay, maybe this is, you know, he's just trying to do it for the money, which at the same time,
Can't blame him.
benefits both sides, because Mike Tyson, it was really a lose-lose for Jake Paul, because if
he made $40 million too.
he made $40 million,
exactly.
but publicly, if he lost to Mike Tyson,
that's true.
it's like, bro, he's 58.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you know what I'm saying? Like, but then if he beat the brakes off Mike Tyson, it's like, fam,
He's just Peter old.
he's 58.
Yeah.
Right? On the other hand, for Mike Tyson, if he beats Jake Paul, everybody's like, exactly what we expected. Thank you, Mike Tyson, for ending the regime of Jake Paul. If he loses, everybody's like, he's 58, man. He's older. You could tell he was older. But at the end of the day, everybody's so happy for him that he got that bag. So for me personally, I had a feeling that it was going to be slow like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy he was able to make some bread off it.
Yeah. He made some bread and it was good. It's funny because just like everything in America, if the person we don't want wins, the conversation is, was it rigged?
Right.
They rigged it.
Yeah.
Did he throw the fight? Was there something of that nature? I don't think he threw the fight. Like, I'm curious y'all's
I don't
opinion.
think so.
I don't think he threw the fight, or that it was some type of setup.
I think it's just,
he
it
can't
went
knock
exactly
Jake
how
out,
they
or Jake can't knock
wanted it to
everybody
go.
out. That's just my view, but I get the conspiracies there because of who Mike Tyson is. It's like, how could you let this YouTuber beat you? He's double your age. And you know when I realized that what you said was true about the money? He did an interview before the fight, like with Lil Jazzy, like the little moment TV reporter. And she asked him about legacy. And he gave her the most grown-up answer to a 12-year-old I ever said. He's like, legacy? What is legacy? Who cares about that? It's our ego.
Right.
We're dead. Who's going to care about
it? He's basically telling her, like, hey.
Yeah.
I need this money. Like,
exactly.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't
about
care
that.
what y'all say about me. I'm about to get this bread, and whatever y'all think of me when I'm dead, I'm dead.
He said, I ain't gonna be there.
And so like you said, that some of the perspective of, that's why he wouldn't do it.
Right.
Because that doesn't resonate for him. He's looking at $20-30 million.
100%.
That making a difference.
There were also great fights leading up to that.
The fight before.
The fight with the women. I think
Yeah.
Katie and Cardozo.
Yeah.
It was a slugfest.
Which
It was
that
the
one
fight
had
of
a
the year
bunch-
a couple years ago, and it looked like a fight of the year contender. This one, you know.
And there was a lot of backlash on the result of that fight.
Right.
Everyone thought that
Absolutely.
that what's her name? Cardozo,
I think. She threw 100 more punches.
Yeah,
landed
it
100
didn't
more
make
punches.
sense. And this chick lost a point because of the whole
And she
headbutting
lost a
thing.
point, and then the split
Serrano.
decision was
Serrano.
The
There you
split
go.
decision was like 94-95.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was crazy. And on top of that, the whole fight, Katie is leaning in with her head,
You know what
I'm saying?
Bro, and that's how she got warnings multiple times. Obviously, she gets a penalty, and she kept doing it right into that eye that she cut up. And it was like, all right, this is getting ridiculous at this point, because she knew, like, my way of winning this fight, which she ended up winning the fight either way, was like, if she's that cut up, if I just cut it up a little bit more, they're gonna have to call it.
Right.
But they ended up fighting the whole fight, and I thought the result was wrong there at the end.
And that's part of boxing. Like, I'm a big boxing fan, and that's really the big issue of boxing is you got 3 judges there that have their opinion, they view things differently, and a lot of times there's a feeling that it's corrupt. A lot of times the reality is people just judge styles differently, and they like some people may like the more whoever contacts them most, even if it's illegal blows, even if it's your punches are blocked. If you're the aggressor, they may give you points for that. At the same time, some people view visuals. If she's bleeding all through the round, even through an accidental headbutt, some of that natural thought is, hey, this person won the round. So I think that's a frustration of boxing. I think you're right. I think Amanda won the fight. I thought it was 1 point the other way. I thought it was 96-94, I believe I had my card, or 95, but either way, second fight, they'll probably fight a third time.
No, for sure.
Those were really good ones. The Barrios fight was really good as well, too. Before that. So, good card. For sure.
Yeah, man. So let's transition, man. Let's talk about the Dolphins win.
Let's talk about the Fins.
Let's talk about the Fins, man. Cam, let's start us off, man. How you feeling about that?
I feel like it's a great winning vibe for you guys the last couple of weeks. I love it for the podcast because we had a rough month through, when QB1 wasn't there, he's back. The offense is flowing a little bit more. And, defense carried last week. This week, the offense probably had a little bit more of the showing. And I think that, these are games you had to win to start this run that we're talking about. The unlikely but possible because of just kind of the early losses. And I thought it was interesting. I always check every week seeing the odds, and your odds go up or down based on the other teams in the playoff hunt. So Dolphins win, they're 4-6 now. Pro Football Network has them about 24% chance to make the playoffs, ESPN 15%. And so not likely, but it's still a possibility. And so I think that the biggest thing was we talked a couple of weeks ago about the fight the team would have. And I think you see the fight. You see a team that didn't pack their bags when they were 2-6. Now, maybe they might make the playoffs, maybe they don't. But I think you're seeing a level of fight from the team. And there's still just some things you got to fix. But, I think it's good to do that when you're winning. As we talked about, sometimes winning is a cologne for your issues. And you couldn't cologne it earlier. You can cologne it a little bit now.
So, I think you're right. I think you hit it on the head. I think it's important to know that you can build better off of a win than you can a loss. There's definitely upside from building and continue to grow off of a win. Definitely things that we needed to work on, especially on defense. Getting off on third down, tackling, yada yada yada. But those are all correctable. You know what I mean? And on top of that, you got the dub, so there's confidence and there's everybody's spirit is high, so everyone's motivated. And has faith, like I said earlier in the pod a couple weeks ago. Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
Because the faith is still there. It's still there. But definitely, man. I think that I think offense is rolling. I think QB1 is doing a phenomenal job, and I think that they're really in sync. And you can see that in practice. You can see that in the meeting rooms and how they're interacting with each other. And so I think going into this week, we're definitely not riding high, but riding very even tone. Because we know where we've been, we know where we can go, and we know what it takes to get there, and everybody is very committed to being uncomfortable. So it's important to
two guys that deserve a shout out. I mean, Calais has been fucking awesome all year, and
incredible.
Seeing Jonnu play the way he's been playing. I said at the beginning of the year to my boys, I'm like, Jonnu's going to be a huge weapon for this offense. It's a guy that we haven't had in this system for like I think the eternity of Mike McDaniel's system, right? Where you got a bigger target, he's elusive, he's athletic, like you can use him in so many different facets, and we're seeing it. And yesterday he had one of those breakout games, and to me, he's a guy that I think we got to just keep riding because Reek is going to get doubled, Waddle is going to get covered, right? Like that's where all the attention's going to go, and you're seeing what happens. It opens up the game so much for a guy like Jonnu, and he's talented as hell. We've seen him succeed in other teams, but like I don't know if you saw a lot of his press conferences after he praised this offense. He's like, Tua's the best quarterback in the NFL, and he's having fun in the system. So it's cool to see a guy. Shout out to Panthers, pause up. He's an FIU guy too. So it's just cool to see that, being from Miami, being an FIU grad, and just seeing him succeed in this system. But going back to Campbell, that video on Instagram after the win, that shit got me hyped up. When he gave that speech at the end, just saying like, "Hey, job's not done. Like, good win, but we're moving on to next week, and there's a lot more work to be done."
Yeah, I think that's what Calais really brings to the team is like a very like grandfather wisdom approach to how we see the game and to our mindset for sure. Because I mean, he's 100% right. 24 hours is all you get for this previous game, and then you have to lock into your assignment on the next job. So He continues to remind us throughout the week about that, and I think that that's something that we really needed.
Yeah.
Especially coming out of a difficult situation of 2-6, and so he was a pivotal piece both on the field and off the field for our mentality and our focus.
He almost had a block too.
Yeah, almost.
Big dude, man. Two things. You were talking about Jonnu. The funny moment that came on social this week of him launching the ball into the stands, and his family is the one that ends up with it. Like, I think that's just cool. Like you talked about it, FIU dude, local here, hadn't been used the way he wanted to be used last few years of his career, gets here, and some point during the season it sparks. Like, even the start of the year, I talked to him, and it's like, not yet. He hadn't had that pop. Now it's popping for him. And then he has that moment where, probably best game he's had, a few seasons.
I think it was career high yards and touchdowns.
Over 100 yards.
Right.
Have your game,
right.
Your family in their crowd watching, and the area you grew up in, you score, launch it, and just by, I can only say God's grace, it lands perfectly, 7-8 rows deep where your family's landing. So I just think that's a cool, like, from a sentimental thing, like if we're allowed to be sentimental, like I think that was a cool.
Yeah, I think we're allowed to be sentimental.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's International Men's Day, and people don't really highlight that because men get a bad rap in
for sure
the community in the world, but we're allowed to be sentimental today.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sentimental today.
Yeah, strictly because of the Jonnu thing, or just in general?
Just in general. In general. The second thing you had mentioned how the way Tua was playing.
Yeah.
One thing I saw on social media, and this stuff bothers me. Like, I'm not a Dolphins fan, but I get some of the Dolphins' narrative of how the quarterback is talked about. I'm watching the Chargers Bengals game, right? Justin Herbo's having a great game, right? Leading them through. They end up winning the game. One of the first tweets I see, I can't believe people think Justin Herbert is still better than Tua. I'm like, why at this stage of the game is this still a thing, right? Tua had a great week. He's playing great ball. A different style of quarterback, visually different.
Right.
But I don't understand why everything still has to be a referendum or a competition through that. So that's the one thing that bothers me as a media person seeing it from that space. So, this is the one time I can say you can blame the media for nonsense.
Man, the media, I always wondered what it was like playing in a time like, the early 2000s where social media really wasn't that big. You know what I mean? It wasn't as prominent as it is today. And how that affected just like playing the game, because so much about media, because PFF wasn't a thing.
True.
So everything was really about just tape. Nothing else but tape and seeing a player play. So those who know ball really have to understand it. And I mean, that's down to reporters, journalists, like they all have to watch tape instead of just looking online at the, there were stats then, but looking online at the percentages and the rankings and whatnot. So I always, I'm always interested as to what the thought process or the perception of how players themselves saw themselves on the field, because you wouldn't go home and see that shit like on social media. You would just go home, back to your family or back to your crib. You know what I mean? And you come in and go to work. So, it's interesting how different we have to conduct ourselves now that social media is such a prominent figure.
Like piggybacking off of that, because you hear a lot of guys say like, "Oh, I don't pay attention to the media. I don't watch the TV." But I'm like, how do you avoid it? Because someone's maybe texting it to you, or it just comes up in a conversation. It's got to come up at some capacity. Right. So you could try to turn off all the noise, to the fullest capacity possible. But the reality is, like, you really can't. Like, it's gonna come up. So whether it's in your ear or you just scrolling one day and you're like, fuck, I can't believe I just saw that.
Yeah. You know what I think, and it's the last thought, and I think we can do a check-in here. I think that our attention spans as Americans kind of have led to the uprise of social media, right? I think we need everything now. We have short attention spans, which has led to social media and a need for immediacy. You were talking about players back in the day. When I came into the industry, talking to a lot of journalists, they would only have one time that it's really presented content, and it's when the newspaper comes out that next morning or where the shows are that next morning. So you had a whole day to prep your thoughts, your perspectives, everything. It wasn't just immediate reaction off of one play or one thought. And so the use of social media and the need for now has, I think, allowed or forced people to go quicker instead of doing more of those homework you're talking about, doing more of the tape, because they want to keep up with the Joneses. And then the other thing is there's a wider spectrum of what is media. Anybody could be a journalist. Anybody can be a reporter. Anybody can tweet highlights or stats or anything and put them together. And there may have been 10 people who you would actually hear their opinion, and that would be the end all. Now there may be 1,000. And I think because of that, that dilutes the pool of actual valuable information. And I think it's created a divide even more between players and reporters because everything you see on social media, you equate as the media's out here doesn't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
And it may or may not be the media, but for a variety of different reasons. So
I think Eric Spoelstra said the best, and then the untrained eye just doesn't know.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So they have no idea that they're completely wrong. They're just talking.
For sure.
So, let's transition, man, out to some Tranquilo Thoughts, man. What do you...
Well, before we get into Tranquilo Thoughts, we got to do our little check-ins on everybody.
You good, fam?
We
take it to the crib.
We did a virtual pod last week, so we weren't together last week. So it's been 2 weeks since we're all back in the same room. How we feeling? How we doing? I know fins are up, but outside of that, how we doing outside of ball?
It's been, I will say mentally, it's been an interesting journey for me this last few weeks. And I think it's great you brought up International Men's Day. So last week, I actually started therapy for the first time in my life. And it's been an interesting journey for me because as Black men, we often don't view that as a resort. For me, I always thought, hey, life had to be going really bad for you. You had to be in a depressed state or something happened to you. And so you think it's separate. And it's even weirder for me because my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister all work in the counseling, the social work space. And so I've always been informed on it. I just never felt like it was for me. But just going through life this year and just going through different ways of trying to figure out how to cope with ups and downs or, stressors or, just different levels of grief or trauma in different parts of your life, you realize you need help. And it doesn't have to mean that your life is struggling on something. And so that's something where I took this step. It took me 6 months to actually say I was going to do it. I thought early in the year, all right, let's go and do it. And 2 weeks ago, I just started calling a couple of therapists, found me a dope Black therapist, dude. And we just started talking last week. And it's we only have one session, but it's been really eye-opening for me on taking care of my mental. I think we joke about the Marshawn stance of take care of your mental, take care of your chicken. But I think a lot of times we physically worry about our health, how we feel as far as working out or as far as your mind, your body. Are you tired or what you're, and not a lot of people check on how they are mentally. And so I think that this is going to help me in this space, and I'm excited about the journey.
Yeah.
That's good for you.
I had a similar situation, a couple of years ago. A good friend of mine had passed away, and I was in a place of what was really important, you know what I mean? Because, I know he wanted to live a full life, and we had just recently talked, it was my birthday, and then the next day he had passed. So I was in a place where I really wanted to figure out what mattered and what didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so I started going to therapy, and, we have a team clinician and whatnot, so I just reached out to him to chop it up. And I found that in difficult times, a lot of the time people will just hey, if you need anything, reach out, right? But what does that really mean?
Right.
What is if you need anything really mean? And I ended up reaching out to one of my close friends and just kind of chopping it up with him, about therapy and about really what it means to be a level-headed individual that is able to, conjure your emotions and speak about them. And he recommended, going to therapy and really trying it out. So I did, and I found that I needed outlets to expel emotion or just time for me to think. So that's when I started reading. I started, golfing a lot. I started fishing, and it wasn't because I, loved these things, because I had never done them really. Because I hated reading books as a kid, and I hated having to sit down for long periods of time because I was always playing sports. So when I started reading, it really took me to find a great book that really interested me, which is it's realism fiction or something. It's The Alchemist, which isn't a real story, but
it's an amazing book.
You're traveling on a journey with an individual, and so those are the type of books that captivate me. And so I read those and a lot of self-help books and The Art of War, and I ended up reading 12 books in a year.
That's awesome.
And it really kind of helped me figure out when I want to be in that space, how I want to be in that space. And so, like I was saying, I didn't really have any interest in golf or fishing, but once I started doing it, I started realizing that it was just peaceful being out there.
Yes.
And that's what I was looking for, was not necessarily the sport itself, because eventually I wanted to get good because I fall in love with it, but it was just me being out there to myself in a place where no one else is going to bother me, and it's just me and my thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think that was like really big for me, coming out of that weird space that I was in, because it was a weird time. A friend of mine had passed, and an old teacher had passed, and people were coming to me, telling me for reasons I don't know why, would hit me up and say, hey, like, I don't know why I'm texting you, but like, I feel like I'm at the edge. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be here any longer. So it was a lot. It really was a lot. And it took me a while to get through a lot of that. But, it's helped me appreciate just daily life and small things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's real. I appreciate you sharing that. I think you talk like using that golf example, and I'm with you the same way as peace.
Right.
We need healthy outlets. We need healthy ways
Absolutely.
to be able to cope with life and the heaviness of life. Like, I think I talked about it a few weeks. Like, we all have responsibilities. We all have like different burdens, different things in our personal life that people may never know about us except our close friends, right? And you have to carry those without letting those define you. But how do you let yourself be released? How do you find places of peace? How do you find outlets? And I think that's something that a lot of people that I know in my circle that's in my age group, we struggle with in a healthy way, in a healthy coping way. Like, it's easy to go to like alcohol, or go to like I'm gonna go out and party, or I'm gonna go out and do this, like different things that people use for the outlet.
Escapes.
Finding the healthy escapes, finding the healthy coping systems, talking to people. I keep things in a lot. I'm sure a lot of people do, right? Like, those are things that are not comfortable, but I think the first step is, like you said, figuring out, okay, how can this is important to me. How can I make this a priority? Same way we do for, if we gain some weight, we want to go to the gym, right? Like, I view this is my mental gym that I need to go to.
Nice.
So,
yeah, there's seasons to life. Like, I use that like as an anomaly for life, right? And there's moments where everything's on cruise control and you're good, and there's moments where you're like, fuck, like what's going on?
right.
And I always look back at like my journey in life, and I feel like I've gained a lot of wisdom. Like, at a young age, my parents got divorced like when I was 18, and it was really bad. I haven't spoken to my dad in 10 years or 11 years now. I don't even know. But I remember going through that process, like just being like extremely confused and lost. And, even to this day, like, I don't have a father figure, right? I don't have like, who do I talk to about that? Like, I have my mom, obviously, but like, I don't have that person. So a lot of it was like, you got to figure it out, And it wasn't me like, hey, I got to figure it out myself. It came in the form of therapy. It came in the form of reading. Reading changed my life. Reading and meditation like changed my life, because in that point in my life, I was so lost and so confused. Like, I fresh out of college, or freshly in college, right? I'm a kid, and I don't have like anything going on. My parents are going through that shit. I have a 5-year-old brother at the time that kind of became like my responsibility for the most part, and coaching his like little league baseball team, and then me trying to figure out my own life. And in that moment, you're like, I got to start a career. Like, I got to start my own life, and I don't know what to do. And I just remember just like praying a fuck ton. Like, and I always go back to prayer when things are not going right. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what can I learn from this moment? What can I garner from this situation? And how can I become better from it? Because reality is, you could go one or two ways. Like you said, you could go down a rabbit hole of making all the wrong decisions, hanging out with all the wrong people, or you can use it as a form of empowerment to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to come out stronger from it. And it's going to provide me a level of perspective that for when the next challenge of life is provided, I'm going to go back to that moment and be like, you came out of that darkness, you came out stronger from it. You're going to do it again. And it's this. It's like you said, like, it's the gym, but you gotta train this to think a certain way. And I think we're not capable of doing that because it's the first time we've experienced this kind of shakeup in our life. And therapists will say, hey, you know what? You should do this. And you're like, fuck, I wasn't thinking it like that. Or you read this book and you're like, damn, I wasn't thinking about it like that. Like, Alchemist is such a good book because that guy is going through so many challenges in his life and he doesn't know which way to go, and he could pick the, you know, like the blue pill or the red pill, and it's based off of the decisions that you make. But if you keep faith close to you and you keep like the good people around you, you kind of make it out on top, because life's not easy. There's like, whoever tells you that hasn't dealt with anything, you know? And for me, it's like, just keep going, figure it out, and you come out better from it. I know I'm the person I am today, and I have that outlook on life that I have today because of what I went through. And for me, that was like, I always look back at that and I'm like, God, like, thank you. Like, thank you. You know, in the moment you're like, why the fuck am I going through this shit? But
it's like
now,
a quick reminder almost. Like, I feel like I was frustrated like 2 days ago, right? Like, I'm like really irritated. And for multiple reasons. Well, it's a situation that I'm in, and I'm sitting in the car and I'm feeling myself like, have you ever been staring at somebody but you're not really looking at them? You're kind of deep in thought. So I'm driving and I'm deep in thought, and my lady Amanda is sitting next to me in the car. We're going to dinner and she's playing music, and we're in the Camry, so it's like it's her car, right? And so she picks this song, this J. Cole song called Change, and like I just happened to start listening because J. Cole's my favorite artist. I got tattoos right here, so I started happening to listen to the song, and he's saying, he's got an ambition that there's gonna be better days, and he sit in silence and find that anytime he meditates, his fears alleviate, they evaporate, and so I start listening to this song, and I just like started to get this swell of emotion that like change is gonna start from within. And so, complaining about it or being stressed about it and like looking at outside sources because they can't do something or they have the inability to. But when I am already equipped with the tools necessary for my own success and my own mental peace, I just have to take advantage of that and step into that space, into that mental space. And like you said, like, reading something, hearing something, like that was that for me. That song was that for me. And I asked her if she picked that song, and she, obviously I thanked her and told her what was going on.
I believe in what they call like divine coincidence, I think is the term.
Man,
bro,
I mean,
there's no mistakes in life, and like there's some things that I'll see and I'm like, motherfucker, like I get it, like I see it, I'm fucking confused, I'm lost right now, and then you send me that and I'm like,
I know we got to move on. But So before the Arizona game, obviously I've been dealing with injury all season, right?
For sure.
And so before the Arizona game, I'm getting taped up and everything. Like I'm getting ready to go. Really, I'm just taping my ankle. That was kind of the only thing left in my hand, and braced up. And so I'm all ready to go out to warm-ups. Like I'm ready to go. And we usually have prayer in the locker room, right? And so I'm a spiritual individual. I'm not necessarily religious, but I still pray to God and whatnot. And so I'm in the bathroom and where everybody's sitting there praying, and our pastor's talking about the word, how he got a new fridge, and he got a new fridge, and this fridge is like deluxe. It tells you everything that you need. You can order food off Instacart or Uber Eats from the fridge because you're low on stock and whatnot. And he goes to sleep, wakes up in the middle of the night, wants some ice cream, goes to the fridge, and the ice cream is melted. And he's wondering why his food is going bad and his ice cream is melting. And then he pulls the fridge from the wall and he realized that it's disconnected from the wall and it's not plugged into the source. And he says that when you're not connected to the source that you originally started you on this journey, you'll lose yourself. And you'll lose that power and that energy that you once had. And I just overcame with emotion because it was the first game that I felt like myself from, all the way from last year before I ended up getting injured in the Jets game. And I was like a swell of emotion because I felt so good. My body felt so good and I was so thankful. And then, a couple plays in, I get hurt again, right? And my whole mentality after getting hurt was completely different than when I initially hurt my hand. Because when I hurt my hand and I came in the locker room, I was like, my season's over. I can't believe this. I'm gonna be out. I can't miss any games. And then when I hurt my knee in the Arizona game, I was like, whatever it is, I'll get through it. Like I've been back. I've been through worse, and I came all the way back to what I was feeling. Like I'm gonna be back, and it's gonna be all right.
Right.
So it was just like
I love that,
bro.
That's
it was
awesome.
I was really emotional for a minute too. It was like 5 or 10 minutes that I was just like standing in the bathroom by myself, just like tearing up, thinking about just being thankful for being able to feel like myself again.
I know you're not religious, but you're spiritual. But what you're saying to me, and I hear it through, that's uninhibited belief and trust in a higher being, whatever your higher being is. For me, it's God. That's something where, hey, I release it, and I think that's something like, even just listening to both of you guys share your stories, and appreciate you guys for doing that. Like, it's made me feel even more empowered about, like, being free and letting free of different things that have inhibited you, because all of us deal with something. And some people's wounds are like very visible. You can see what they're struggling with. I think the most dangerous wounds are the wounds you can't see.
1,000%.
And like, how do you process those, right? And I think like this conversation, this helps people process their own wounds that we may never see, right? And so I think that like this is very important and intentional. And I think that's something that we've got to press each other to do more and have less surface level conversations. Because that's easy. It's easy to say, how are you doing? I'm good. I've said that thousands of times in my life, and I bet you less than 0.5% of the time I've actually felt good completely in that space with nothing else to say. So I think that's a challenge for all of us.
100%.
You know what else is a challenge?
Oh! I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
That was good. That was good. I thought I hit the quick transition.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
It's Howling with the Wolf time, and we're going from a very sentimental conversation to having a little bit more fun in this particular category. I want to start with this, just to kind of transition from what we were discussing. The first thing I'm howling on this week, my daughter started soccer a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, the first few weeks, they could not find the goal, any of them. Like it was like I came in my mind of just like, hey, my daughter, all these players, they're gonna be excellent, man. They're gonna be scoring goals left and right. I was naive in this. Dog, out of bounds every single play, going the wrong direction. Y'all running the wrong way. Y'all running the wrong way, right? This week, my daughter scored her first goal. It was the game-winning goal.
Yeah,
game winner too.
Can't tell you nothing.
And guess what number she wears?
8.
Number 8.
Hey.
Can't tell you. That's why she got that goal, man. I'm trying to tell you. It's in the number, bro. It's in the number. She got that. It's in the number.
Right. And to me, like when I felt that, it was less about like the actual she scored a goal and like the physical. It was more like the emotions, right? Because she had been like, it's been a difficult journey for her because she's a little bit selfish as a kid. She's an only child. She's used to getting the ball. She doesn't understand why she's not her turn.
Right.
She's like, hey, what's going on?
Right.
And I had to tell her, like, don't pout. Like, sometimes you got to, it's not your turn. You got to celebrate your teammates. They score a goal. Like, it's like trying to tell her some of these early lessons of sports. And I think it's been difficult because sometimes she'll have a little bit of pout. But I told her before this game, I was like, please be patient. Just continue to run after the ball. Continue to go after your opportunities, and it's going to come. And she said, yes, Daddy. And most times she said that, I don't think that she was going to listen. Right. She had an opportunity. Like, it was like the second half. She gets a alley on the left side. She scores the goal. And I could just see her running back. And me and my wife are yelling, like, goal. Like, I'm yelling as long, goal, like as long as I can. And she looks, and I could tell she's like embarrassed. She's looking like, why are you saying that? But then after, she like smiles and like she says in her own way, like, and like the emotions of that, of like seeing her go through that, that was pretty cool. Like, it was a different parent step that I hadn't seen before. In that particular spectrum. So that was one of the highlights of my week.
That's cool.
That's awesome, man.
That's big time.
That's awesome,
for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what, being a dad is like. I mean, it's like it's really everything that you want and dream for is in another tiny human. You know what I mean? Like, I know how I feel when I have a kitten. Yeah. And like, I want my kitten to be healthy and have fun and jump around. But like, to see somebody that is literally you. Yeah. Like, I can't imagine. Can't wait. I can, but I can't.
Right. No rush. But it'll be amazing when you do. And I'm so glad I had a daughter first, because they soften guys, myself in particular. And like, you feel things you don't think that you would ever feel. And it's the love is just a different type of love than anything I've ever given or received. The patience that you learn to have, and that it's just a part of you. And then just the level of like the proudness, just like of something that I created, but that is making her own individual choices to grow in her own way. So it's cool.
They teach you, and you're thinking like you got to teach them all the time, but just by being there, they're teaching you so much.
So much. Other feeling I felt this week was vindication. Anthony Richardson returned as the Colts starting quarterback this week, and he balled out. And we talked on last week's episode about all the commentary of Anthony Richardson. He was not this. He was flawed as a quarterback. He, had been bad through all the early weeks. He deserved to be benched because of a variety of reasons, including tapping out. Joe Flacco gave them a better chance to win. All that went out the window. Richardson came out there, balled out, threw for nearly 300 yards, had a really high completion percentage, and even ran over a dude. When they tell him be careful on how he's running, ran over a dude. He showed a level of playmaking ability that showed why he was drafted 4th overall a year ago. And my thing for him has always been give him patience, give him development, give him grace, and just see how it rolls. And I think last week was an example of what his potential is. And I'm glad the Colts put him back in the lineup. I was critical of how they've handled the process, but ultimately he needs reps. And the 2-week absence, I didn't think it was necessary, but if it helped him in any way and he becomes a better quarterback for it, then I think we're all seeing the importance of development. And so I think when I saw Anthony Richardson throw a pass to Alec Pierce down the seam, it was early in the game, that showed me a guy who was starting to rebuild his confidence. Because confidence is so key at those two positions in particular, quarterback and kicker. Like, if you lose your confidence, it's hard to be that type of guy. Right. And you getting benched, saying all the things that were said about you, it would be easy for him to lose his confidence. He fired a bullet seam route, a route they say he can't throw, down on the money and hit his play. And that really set off his day. And I'm happy about that. Like, man, there's a lot said about quarterback development. Absolutely. And I just thought, for that particular guy, I felt like a certain emotional attachment to him because of how he's had to handle this process, right? He's the youngest quarterback in his class, the rawest quarterback in his class, and everything he's dealt with injury-wise. Like, it just felt like everything isn't going his way, and to have that happen his way, I thought it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially for young players in the league. Like, you have to raise them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't think there's very few players, that can come into the league and immediately have a crazy impact. You know what I mean? So I think, besides the freaks that are already built and, are already super people, you have to raise these players up to be good players. They have to raise them, mentally so that they have that mental fortitude to block out the noise, the educational aspects so that they can dive into being a professional and understanding the scheme and how football works as a base so that they can then build off of that and have a level of cognitive processing so that they can make quick decisions and be effective. And I think they're doing that, with Anthony Richardson. I'm sure Joe Flacco is being a hell of a mentor for him and helping him because he's got a wealth of knowledge of the quarterback position in the NFL. So I'm excited to see how he develops and how he grows into a phenomenal player because we obviously see the potential he has.
Yeah.
The confidence is the biggest thing, I think. You take him out of the game and you bring him back and you take him out, like that's got to mess with your head.
For sure.
So for him to bounce back and it came against the Jets, which makes it that much better, it's something that you want to see out of a guy. You want to root for a guy like that because it's like, all right, this guy his career could be over if he doesn't perform at this point. Like he's on his final thread, but he reversed that and he balled out against what's a good defense too. Yep. It's a good defense. Like they've played well all year. And for him, hopefully it's momentum. Selfishly, I don't want the Colts to be winning it.
Yeah, they're in the playoff picture right
there.
Yeah.
But they beat the Jets, so it's all good.
For sure. Yeah, I think he talked after the game about just showing his teammates more than anything that he's bought into being a professional. They need him to be working the level it needs to be a franchise quarterback. That was some of the things that came out that maybe he needed to grow in, right? Just hearing him think about, like, the biggest joy I had of this is that my teammates now see me maybe in a different light that maybe they see me before, I think shows that he's on the right way. That you're seeing how he's knowing how he acts and how he moves affects his team. Like everybody follows how the quarterback moves. So the other thing this week, at the game I was at, the Steelers-Ravens, we saw real nasty rivalry football. And I love it. Like just my personal style as a fan, I like that style. And I talked to their defensive coordinator, Ravens defensive coordinator, Zach Orr, before the game. He was a player not too long ago in this rivalry. And like he said something interesting to me. He was like, when we were playing the Steelers, we hated them. Like it was like pure hate. Like we did not. And he was like, I think that's going away for like the last decade. Like just because of circumstances, teams not always both good,
Right.
Just different players leave the rivalry that drive the intensity, right? He's like, this week I felt it come back. And some of it comes through like both teams being good, or also like weird stuff like players crossing enemy lines, right? And so like Patrick Queen was a Raven, now he's a Steeler. He had a great game. I talked to him after the game, and he said before the game he had a certain vendetta against him because he went into free agency and they didn't offer him a deal. Right. They didn't want him. He hadn't talked to the head coach before. He was using that as his personal fuel, right? After the game, I talked to him and he said, man, I really had to wake up with a certain level of freeness where I didn't have hatred in my heart in that particular moment. But when the game clicked, I felt a different way. And he talked about a moment where one of his teammates, Isaiah Likely, had looked him up and down in a certain way after he made him a juke on the field. And he was like, that just ignited me. That's ignited a fire in me that I didn't even think I had. Next play, he rips the fumble out. That ends up being a game-changing play, right? Like those are things that the emotions of the game that I love that impact the game in a different way. Like people all say, hey, you're playing hard, you're playing 100% all the time. That's probably true, but there's a certain level that comes when you have a certain anger or a certain
controlled aggression,
where it's like, I'm going above 100. Like whatever that next level I didn't think I could tap into. Yeah. And so I thought it was dope to see that this week.
No doubt. I think I like to see things in imagery. And so I think what you're speaking about, I like to see in a big fire, in a big blaze, right? Like and that emotion and that anger on the field can be wild, right? But if you condense that fire into a very fine point, it's going to burn a lot quicker, a lot hotter in that one specific point. And I think that's, kind of what Patrick Queen was alluding to, is that he had to release himself from this rage of, random, emotion everywhere. And he had to really lock in on what his assignment was, what his job is, but then in a controlled way so that he can be the most effective. And Isaiah Likely giving him that look really ignited that fire. And he was able to, be ball conscious in that next play and make a game-changing play. So,
has there been a spot in a game where someone does something like that to you and it just like triggers something?
Not necessarily. It was more so. I got hurt in the Buffalo game. Like it was a snow game on Saturday night.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I remember that game.
It was that game, and it was also the Lions game. I'll talk about the Buffalo game first. So I came back and I had a neck brace on, but I know the team needed me. So I came back and I was extremely focused on what my assignment was. And first play I came out, neck brace on, Josh Allen ran up the middle, tackle. And I'm spying on the next couple plays, run the red zone, tackle. You know what I mean? Covering my man. So it was more so me just being extremely locked in, knowing that I have to be on my P's and Q's in order to win this game. Unfortunately, we ended up losing, but I feel like my efforts after that first half really helped us be in that game close.
That was the game that they called like a PI late in that game or something like that, right?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. And in the Lions game, nobody said anything to me, but I was in a position where I'm not sure what happened, but Eric Rowe, our starting strong safety, had been inactive. So Verone had to start, and then I ended up playing strong safety. And I think I had told this once before, but I didn't I had no idea what the strong safety rules were, right? Like a day before the game. So I was learning strong safety while I was playing, and I ended up having like 14 tackles, a punch out, whatnot. And I had a really good game, got the game ball, but I was, learning while I was playing, and it was a challenge for me that both made me angry because I had to do it, because I'm like, we're in the league and I'm having to be, I'm having to learn defense while I play it. But it also ignited a point in me knowing that I can adapt and I can do this, because if anybody can, I can, because I know I have that cognitive ability. And so I was extremely locked in. So, yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Emotions drive a lot.
Yeah, they do.
I think one thing before we go into our last segment here about emotions, there was an emotional comment last week that we didn't get a chance to address that I wanted to get some thoughts on. In that same game, Steelers, safety Deshon Elliott went on a podcast, Punchline Pod, with Marlon Humphrey before the game. And he's talking about the game and a lot of elements of his career and the season. And he brings up that this particular game, Ravens-Steelers, is going to be first time he's felt that physical rivalry in a while, because the team he was on last year which was the 2023 Dolphins,
Yeah.
was, quote, soft as fuck. Said that. He said a few other things about, the team folding in Tennessee and just feeling like guys on the team didn't have the same commitment. He had a few expressions that, we don't have to go deep into there, but he said a lot of things. And so my initial thought when I heard it was like, how do your boys, your brothers, who you're in the locker room with, feel about that? And so we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. I want to kind of get a platform here. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
So initially when I heard it, I was kind of just like, dog, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, fam, like, I understand his point, and obviously he's speaking his truth. So in my eyes, the shoe didn't fit. So I took no offense to it, right? I didn't have a problem with it. He said what he wanted to say. That was his truth. And then I kind of just moved on from there. Yeah, I called him and I asked him, I was like, dude, like, if you're going to call somebody out, say their name or like be more specific. Don't just say a broad statement and then not go into detail. And, he had some comments about that and, whatnot, that the Miami Dolphins never going to be able to win kind of comment. Like, the shoe didn't fit for me, so I didn't take any offense to it. I personally did not care enough to comment about in any way other than just saying, like, if he's not going to name people, then it is what it is.
Right.
But I will say, like, I wish he would have delivered it in a different way because it shed a bad light on him. And I think that it's important to continue to keep, especially as a professional, keep it professional. Even though it's, a personal podcast and him and Marlon are good friends.
Right.
It's important for him to remain and have a good image of himself because, you don't want that to be a negative effect on your career.
Yep.
And Deshon is having a hell of a year, and he's a good player.
Heck of a year.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a hell of a year. So I just hope that doesn't affect his career in any way, shape, or form, because that would be really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I just wanted him to, like, if you're gonna deliver it in a way that protects yourself, so that you don't seem like somebody who's lame or like a lame individual that has low character or anything like that. Like, just. If you're going to put it out there, put it out there. And if you're going to put it out there, put it all out there.
Yeah.
Lay it all out on the line. But if not, then, like, deliver it in a way that's just going to protect you later on in life. So,
yeah.
But we talked about it, and, I mean, I got no hate in my heart for him. Like I said, the shoe didn't fit for me, so.
Yeah. What was his reaction? You said you talked to him and you said what you said. What did he say back?
He was just like, man, like, I wish I would have been a little bit more specific on what I was talking about. Like, I was on a podcast, so I was kind of just talking, but. And he was like, are you upset? I'm like, bro, I'm not upset. Like, I honestly could care less, but I just wanted to make sure, like, like, you should just, like, take care of yourself while you're in these spaces. Like, that could affect you. So, yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. The man wanted to talk about it. The man wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, that shit went viral on Twitter.
Yeah, that shit was going viral. People were they asked us about it, like, immediately after it happened in the locker room.
Damn media.
Like, media in the locker room, they're like, so, you see the Deshon Elliott comments? I'm like, yeah, I saw it. I'm like, oh, well, I'm like, hey, man, look, this is what it is. So, and everybody got a comment on it, and everybody has an opinion and whatnot. So,
how did it feel to the fire?
Yeah, and that's the thing I was curious about because I saw Cater had some strong comments about it and felt a certain way about it. Some other guys did as well. Like, does something like that, even if it's not from your opponent, can you use that as fuel? Like, is that something like, hey, they called us soft, they said this, and I guess it was last year, but some of the guys are still there. You feel like, hey, now, if there's any extra, I'm going to give extra to prove his truth wrong.
Yeah, not really, because I really don't give a fuck about nobody else's truth but mine and what we got going on in our facility. So for me, I was just like I know no one in this room is soft. And I'm specifically talking to defense and offense. Like, I know nobody in here is soft. So why the fuck would I care about somebody calling us soft?
Right,
like,
exactly.
It is, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I just, like, shrugged it off.
What's that saying? Like, a lion doesn't care about the opinion of a sheep. I'm not saying he's a sheep, but that's the mentality of it. It's like, your words don't matter. Like, all that matters is, like, the group of guys around this. So I get it.
Well, as we kind of wrap this football conversation, we're getting toward the holidays. I wanted to have a brief commentary on holiday talk. Just have some fun to end here. My wife put up the Christmas tree last week.
Oh,
God damn!
I gotta hear.
I've been ripping everybody that's been doing
what
that.
date is that?
It was like November 15th or something like that. So here's the thing. And I it's my household, so it's on me as well.
Right.
We talk about this a lot. She's a big Christmas person. She loves Christmas. Her birthday's the day after Christmas. I'm with it. she wants to watch Christmas movies too early. We're not watching Christmas movies till December. That's what I'm standing. Right. You know, the last few years I've told her let's wait till after Thanksgiving. I think that's like the natural time, like the Friday after Thanksgiving maybe, or the week after. We're gonna be out of town Thanksgiving weekend this year. She's like, we can do it earlier. I was like, all right, whatever. We had people over for the Tyson fight. That's everybody's comment. Y'all got the Christmas tree up already?
Right.
And then she wants me to put the Christmas lights up on the house, and that would cry me get on the ladder. I'm like, one of these years is gonna get me God, you know. But I'm like, dog, can we at least wait till after Thanksgiving for the Christmas lights? And so we negotiating that. So where do y'all stand on Christmas lights, Christmas trees, holidays? Like, how should we treat the season?
Day after Thanksgiving is how it's always worked for me, and then I think the 7th is when the tree comes down.
I mean, she's on grocery store timing. Like as soon as Halloween is over, grocery store, there's like Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Mariah Carey's playing.
Immediately. And Mariah Carey is waking up like Frankenstein out the grave. You know what I mean? So for me personally, I'm not against it, but I would say I wait to put the Christmas tree up after Thanksgiving, just because I want seasons to be, I want to have like the autumn vibe.
That's my thought.
Right.
It's like if I'm imagine like, I mean, you do it, but like my thought is, and it's funny, I was actually thinking, I don't know why I was thinking about this on the drive here, and I was like, because I saw, that's what it was. I saw a Christmas tree on someone's car, and I'm like, damn, Christmas tree already? And then I'm like, bro, that means you're sitting at your Thanksgiving dinner and there's a Christmas tree. It's like you're celebrating like 2 holidays at once. Like, why can't we celebrate Thanksgiving and then get into Christmas?
And real tree or fake tree?
It's a fake tree.
So the tree's not gonna die. Real tree you put up before Thanksgiving,
it might die before.
You're gonna have to replace the tree before Christmas. There's no way that it's gonna stay alive for that long.
Yeah.
So me personally, I got a fake tree. I want to get a real tree, but I don't know what type of bugs and whatnot is out here in Florida.
There are no bugs.
You know, Florida got all type of species.
You're good.
Anyway,
I've never had a desire for a real tree.
We grew up on real trees, and it does give a
nice.
certain scent to the house. That's
like
the
smell.
Christmas.
So that's why I'm like, what is the difference? Like,
yeah, but then
do you
people
feel
get
like
the fake
you're more
tree and they
Christmassy?
spray it with something like, oh, I got the scent too. I'm like, that ain't
No,
it.
it's not the same. Like it's like the natural oak smell from the
it's
pine
messy.
tree.
Like it just adds to the dynamic. Yeah, it just adds to the that's what Christmas is all about. Put that thing in the tree, put it in the bed of the truck, put the stand on, get that sappy touch from the tree when you're grabbing it and putting it down.
That's what you like.
That's Christmas.
You don't put no gloves on or nothing?
You just raw, just raw.
That's
after
crazy.
it.
No, that's crazy. You know, I'm not raw dogging no tree, first of all. Me and my brother had from 2018 to from like 2015 to like 2018. Me and my brother had like a 3-year streak of acquiring a tree, and we would go out, acquire the tree, come back, and then we would end up having to set it up. And every year the tree got bigger until the tree was scratching the roof of the house, and then we had to end up cutting it off and couldn't fit the Black Santa Claus on top and whatnot. So, but
when you say acquire, you guys were like chopping that shit down.
No, we would just acquire it,
like just pick it up somewhere.
Like a tree?
No, we would just we would acquire the tree.
Like you
just
go
like
to
we
the shop
would
to go
acquire
pick it up.
pumpkins, we would just acquire the tree. We would go out, get the tree, come back.
Right, but like
so so y'all went into a forest.
No, but what I'm saying, you're not hearing me.
When I hear acquire, I'm like, that's a different word than like
I
go to pick up the tree.
We would just acquire the tree. We would go get the tree.
So what do you think acquire means?
So I would so this is how
acquire works.
Toyota Civic, right? Toyota Civic, like 2006. We would get the tarp, the ropes, you know what I'm saying? Put them in the back of the car. This is a fishbowl car. We would drive to where the trees is at, right? Pick up the tree we want, acquire the tree, wrap it up, and then drive home.
I think I understand. I understand it now.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand it now.
I understand it now.
I understand it now.
I understand it now. But
so what's the difference between what I do when I go to pick up the tree? Is there a difference?
Well, he acquires it.
I acquire the tree.
And I pick it up.
Maybe your intention is different, but we would acquire the tree.
I understand it.
I understand it now.
Understood.
A holiday tradition. I don't want to lose the topic. Yes. Holiday tradition for us and my family, we would make Christmas music videos.
Oh
shit!
Yes.
Okay.
So if you guys want to, they're all on YouTube.
They're all on YouTube.
There's some when I was a tiny kid, middle school, and then there's like one when I was a little older, like sophomore in high school, and that was like one of the last ones we had done.
Yeah.
But we made Christmas music videos and posted them on YouTube. So you guys can go check those out.
That's dope.
But
and do you celebrate Christmas on Christmas Day?
Yeah. Yes. So
okay.
We celebrate Christmas on Christmas Day, but obviously like in college, New Year's Six bowls and whatnot, we had to celebrate the night before my freshman year in 2018 because we left. I had to be at the hotel on the 25th. So I've been, been moving around, but once you get to a certain age, like like it's kind of like, you're out the house and Christmas isn't what Christmas was before, because like you're buying the gifts.
Yeah, for sure.
So
music videos is really cool.
That is cool.
I don't necessarily have like a super cool tradition. Thanksgiving, we all say what we're thankful for around the table. I don't think that's super unique, but we do that. We try to get like really intentional and specific on that. As far as the holidays, we watch This Christmas. Chris Brown This Christmas every year on Christmas Day. That's like I know everybody say, Home Alone, Christmas Stories.
This Christmas.
This Christmas is my favorite Christmas movie.
That's a black household. It's a black household. It's a very and was it this Friday or next Friday?
Yeah, next Friday. Yeah,
that's a black house.
That's it. It's my favorite Christmas movies. We always watch them. So yeah, that's probably our traditions, the primary ones.
So we do Christmas. Technically, do it on the 25th, but it's like a very light situation. Just wake up. Open your presents. We make cinnamon rolls every Christmas morning. Nice. But that's the extent of it. And then like the days just like hang out, maybe watch some football, just chill. But the 24th is like the day. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So Cuban Christmas is what they call a cajachina.
Okay.
So it's a wooden box. You put charcoal on the top, and we cook a pig inside the wooden box, and that takes about. Depending the size of pig, but it's a full day thing. It's a 6-hour cooking thing. You're hanging out all day, playing dominoes, drinking. It's a full day event. And then you start at noon, and then like around 6 o'clock, pig's ready. Start cutting it up. They have like what they call the chicharron, which is like the skin of the pig. Which for a good pig, you need that crispy skin. So that's what makes everybody like go crazy. And then you have dinner, and then everyone hangs out. Everyone goes in a food coma, and then the day's over, and then you get ready for Christmas like the next morning. But like 24th is the day. It's a party all day.
Hell
nice.
Yeah.
So what would you guys be your top 3 if you had to draft 3 foods? 1, 2, 3. What would be your
for Christmas or
for Thanksgiving?
For Thanksgiving.
You want to do that now, or you want to say that for next?
Let's do it now.
Okay, let's do it now.
Let's do it now, and then we'll do Christmas later on.
So top 3 for Thanksgiving. Okay.
You got first pick, Dre.
Damn. First pick. So we're starting from the top, like my number one.
Let's go. No, let's go 3, 2, and then 1.
3, 2, 1. All right. So I would say number 3 has got to be probably the honey baked ham.
Okay.
Honey baked ham.
Okay.
Then number 2 is the mac and cheese. So we do like a super 3 cheese mac and cheese situation. And then number 1, I don't think it's a popular opinion, but I'm actually a big turkey guy. Like turkey leg specific though. Love a good turkey leg.
What you got, Vaughn?
So I would say my number 3, I'm gonna go with my Auntie Shameen's deviled eggs. Very essential appetizer to the Thanksgiving meal. Recently, my girl, she's Puerto Rican, and they make pernil, which is like pork shoulder.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's pork shoulder. Gotcha. So I put that at 2. And then mac and cheese with barbecue sauce. That's
with barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce is a good move.
Okay.
If you know that,
you
know ball.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, collard greens.
Ooh.
Not a collard green guy.
Another honorable mention, candy yams.
Oh.
Damn! I'm not gonna lie. Hold on. Let me redraft. I'm gonna go 3 candy yams.
Yeah.
2 collard greens. Nah, I'm gonna just go 1 candy yams. Candy yams is the number 1
candy
pick.
Yams
2
special,
collard
bro.
greens, 3 go pernil, mac and cheese.
Okay, I was gonna say, damn, you just knocked out your girl's thing out of the top 3.
Damn, I'm not gonna lie, it's too many good foods.
It is tough. It's tough.
It's amazing. So I'm with you. I do, and I'm gonna cheat a little bit here. Number 3 for me is the collard greens mixed with the yam.
With the ham on. It's too good.
It's special, bro.
It's too good. I gotta learn how to make that.
It's special, bro. Number 2, I like the dressing. I'm a big dressing guy, not stuffing.
But what type of
stuffing
dressing?
is different than dressing now.
What's the difference though?
Because look, it's how it's made. Is it cornbread dressing? Is it made from a cornbread base, or is it made through the little box stuff, y'all, the Stouffer's?
That's stuffing.
That's stuffing.
The box is stuffing. The dressing is from the cornbread.
Yes.
They may look the same.
I gotta see.
They may look the same,
but it's so different.
So it's the way it's made.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And honestly, who makes it? It's a big part of it as well.
Fair.
Because I done been over people's houses and you know.
So who makes it in your house?
My wife makes it, but my mom would make it when I was back home.
Gotcha.
My grandma, it's a rite of passage. You know, the best woman cooker of the house takes it on, or the more experienced one of the house takes it on. Number 1 is mac and cheese.
Gotta be.
Mac and
Number
cheese
one's
gotta
mac
be
and
in
cheese.
there.
Mac and
Gotta be.
cheese is
Gotta be.
It's
different.
undefeated.
You got to have the cheese separating. I'm a big 5 cheese. We've gone 6 cheese
Oh,
sometimes.
Y'all doing
before.
it up. Y'all doing it up.
And I like it so like you rip it and the cheese is just like you can see it's
yeah.
almost so
Gotta
difficult.
go corner.
Yeah.
And I know you got the pot that's already been color stained
Yep.
to that yellowy
Facts.
cheese.
Yeah.
Come on now, talk to me.
They done been cooking mac and
Come
cheese
on now,
in
talk to me.
that way for 20 years.
That pot is only used for mac and cheese.
Yep.
And on New Year's, it's only used for gumbo.
Yep.
Come on now, talk to me.
Yep. Now we talking gumbo special now.
Gumbo, that's the New Year's gumbo.
That's gonna be next episode.
We're gonna talk about that soon. We're gonna talk about. I will say before we depart, green bean casserole has never been on the table at my house.
Never.
For Thanksgiving. So
I agree.
Just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Green bean casserole has never and will never make an appearance. Just want to let you guys know that.
It would not be in my top 50.
No.
I just want to let you guys know. And I'm having the cranberry sauce sliced up on the table too.
Yeah, in the can.
In the can. Out the can, in the can, sliced up.
Yep.
And the candy yams are only candy yams because they got marshmallows on top. Thank you very much.
Yeah, bro. These are the takes. These are what we need.
This is the facts.
Come back next week when we're gonna talk more about our food channels and holidays and everything that we're gonna talk about. Do you have anything to say before we
got my closing thoughts?
Yeah.
I had something written down, but when we were having our deep combo, I'm gonna change up my Tranquilo Thoughts for today. Just one liner. I actually have it tattooed right here, and it was what kept me strong during that time. And it's a passage, Jeremiah 29:11. It's, for God has a plan for you, a plan to prosper you and not to harm you, a plan for hope in the future. And when things are not going well, I always go back to that guy right there. So.
Yeah. I love it. And that's the proper use of the Jeremiah 29:11 verse. I know people use that a lot of times in athletics. It's through, he was going through a difficult time at that point. He didn't really know how to essentially get through it, and he's using that as the spirit to get him through a difficult time. So yeah, that's dope. Great word to end it on. Appreciate y'all hanging with us on a sentimental Breaking House Rules.
Sentimental.
We'll be back with you guys for a special episode next week. Let us know your favorite top 3 Thanksgiving dishes.